In this particular exercise, we will try and understand how do we calculate the stock beta. So while we are doing a valuation or while we are using the capital asset pricing model, which is a KPM model, there is a variable input which comes as a part of beta. So risk-free rate plus beta into market risk premium, which is RM minus RF. So that beta is usually we need to calculate while we are doing while we are calculating cost of equity, or while we are doing a valuation, or while we are doing any kind of a modeling. Now that beta calculation is really simple. We need to take, so instead of relying on external sources, it is strongly recommended that we calculate, and it's not that difficult. It will not take more than even 2-3 minutes. It's just that the data is available. We just have to apply a formula, and that's pretty much. So we can go to BSE website. How do we get the data first? Let's say we want to calculate beta for Infosys. So we select Infosys and we can click on archives and we just put the data here. It is strongly recommended that we take daily data and for a longer period, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, to basically eliminate any kind of anomalies. So in this particular example, we have taken data for from 2011 till 2019, which is 10th of April 2019. We have taken data. So these two particular columns which I have added is been added. It is not a part of the original schematic. So instead of this, everything will be a part of this. Just to give you an understanding, as of now, whenever you are downloading data for the stock, a particular stock from BSE website, it is always the highest or the latest data first, which is basically 2019 data first. But if you are downloading data for index, the oldest data first. Okay, so you need to manage that. And the problem with the NSE website is it just allows you data to download for a particular year, and hence we have chosen BSE in this particular example. Now, if you want to take a data for a stock for an equity, so we can go to indices over here, and there is a tab called as historical data. So we can click on that. We can have indices and we can have historical indices prices, and we can select NSE daily and same date. Now from 2011 till 2019, basically the date says to be the same. Now once the data is with us, it will come in this particular format for the index. Now when we are calculating beta, it is going to be on the stock return per day and not on the prices. Why? It's a discussion for another video, but just keep in mind that whenever you are creating or whenever you are calculating beta for a stock, it is always on the stock return for a particular period. Here, since we have data for a day, it is going to be per day return. My beta is going to be calculated on. So here I will calculate per day returns, which is latest value minus initial value divided by initial value. Latest value minus initial value, bracket close, and upon initial value. So this is going to be my data. Similarly, this is going to be my indices data. Similarly, is going to be my stock return data, which is again final value, which is minus initial value divided by initial value. And I simply drag this. And I copy index data over here, paste special, only the values. And then the formula is simple. Beta is covariance between the stock return and the index return divided by variance of index return data. This is pretty simple. I'll convert it to numbers. I can also do it slope of stock returns, comma, index returns. This is what my stock beta is going to be the same. The answer is going to be the same. Now, there is one particular thing which we need to understand over here. Sometimes the stock would have, it will not materially change, the answer will not materially change if my time period is longer, but there will be a minor impact. Now let's see what exactly we are talking about. Sometimes the stock will announce bonuses, or sometimes stocks will split. So for that we need to adjust the stock prices. So for that you just have to apply conditional formatting on the stock returns. And conditional formatting is something like that: if there is a split or a bonus, my prices the next step would have moved by 100%. So if it is less than, let's say 50%, or let's say minus 50%, then you have to have a red. So here we have created in a such a way that if so prices will basically drop by half. So basically if my change in the value is around 50% or 45% or 46%, because we are always doing on the closing prices, so there can be a range. So anything which is less than 40% is a kind of a suspicion. So here we have put a conditional formatting around that, and we'll scan for that. So here if we see that the prices, so there would have been bonus or a split and the price has been halved. Now what we can do is we can simply paste this over here, and we can multiply this by 2 so that we can remove the anomaly. Similarly over here, so we are just removing the prices effect which has been affected because of the split or a bonus. We are just removing that kind of an effect over here. If there is any more, there is one more which is over here, and we can obviously find the history about it, whether there is a bonus or a split from BSE website. So now there is no, so if we go to BSE website and if we search about Infosys, and on the left hand side if we click on corporate actions, we will come to know about bonus history. So post 2011 there has been 3 bonuses and we have changed our data thrice. So we are going into a red direction. Now if we see the beta, it would have been changed slightly, by not much obviously, but there will be a slight effect on the beta, and this is going to be my final beta. The advantage of taking data for a longer term horizon is that it removes any kind of price anomalies. If we take the data only for that particular a year or so, and even then we are taking just a weekly or a monthly data, then the impact will be very high because my number of inputs will be very less. If we are taking data daily, then basically the random events, which is basically a bonus or a split, there are only 2 or 3 events basically in a span of 4 or 5, 6 years basically, and where my data is my line item is anywhere between 1500 to 2000. So here my almost 2000 data points. The couple of anomalies will be neglected by itself. But if I am just taking weekly in a span of let's say 4 or 5 years, I will have only 250 data points where my impact will be much higher. More so in the case of if I am taking only monthly data, where I will have only let's say 40 to 50 or let's say 60 if I am taking for 5 years. The lesser the data points, the more the impact. Here more the data points and the lesser the impact. But otherwise it's a very simple exercise. You just have to calculate the stock return daily, index return daily for a longer period of time. Either you can use the slope formula or using the covariance upon variance formula. Covariance between the stock return and the index return upon the variance of the index return. That's pretty much, this is the same beta you can use in a KPM formula where risk-free rate plus beta is the market risk premium. So that's pretty much about this video. I hope you have liked it. you can hit like and subscribe button, and you can subscribe to our channel to be updated about the events and the new videos which we post. Thank you very much.